seismographs. That's how they detect earthquakes under.
This is a 9.1 in Indonesia.
That's an earthquake simulator.
Ready? Sit down.
That's what it feels like.
This is a big one.
9 on the Richter.
9.1.
Tiny, big.
Oh! He's literally shaking.
It's
It's when they didn't know what it was. It can fly right off.
gonna be big.
It's a 9.1.
Look, it's tiny. Big. Mommy, do this one, not with the 20,000.
That's 50 metric ton.
Oh, that's the one that I did. It's big. Now I have to wait for it.
Oh my god.
You wait for the big one.
Oh.
It's cool, you can watch it.
You need to try this. Hold up. Okay.
Underground nuclear explosion, 2017.
I did
North Korea.
I did that one.
It's not so bad.
Eventually, when it's
Original event lasted 12.5 minutes.
With enough material, a critical mass of uranium or plutonium produces a chain reaction that, if controlled, creates energy, and if uncontrolled, produces a powerful explosion. The work of the Manhattan Project was distributed in laboratories across the United States, and at its peak would employ over 130,000 scientists, engineers, technicians, and other workers. Colonel Leslie Groves, who had just completed the building of the Pentagon on time and under budget, was chosen to lead the effort. Groves ordered that sites be found for the massive industrial complexes needed to create the fissionable materials necessary for an atomic bomb. Makeshift cities were built seemingly overnight. Thousands of people began working non-stop in shifts to produce enough fissionable material for the new weapons. In Tennessee, cyclotrons and diffusers concentrated U-235, the fissionable isotope of uranium. In Washington, B-reactor, the first full-scale production reactor in the world, produced plutonium-239, the fissionable isotope of plutonium. As work progressed, it became clear that the project would also need a dedicated laboratory, where scientists and engineers could collaborate to design and construct an atomic bomb. To serve as director of that facility, Groves, now a general, chose J. Robert Oppenheimer, the nation's leading theoretical physicist. Oppenheimer, who had vacationed in New Mexico, suggested Los Alamos for the secret weapon design laboratory, codenamed Project Y. Groves liked that it was impossibly remote, easy to secure, and away from coasts and potential attacks. The first scientists, who arrived in April 1943, conceived of two different ways to assemble a critical mass inside a bomb: the gun-type method and the implosion method. Early research focused on the simpler gun-type assembly, which was thought to work with both uranium and plutonium. Ultimately, the gun-type assembly, in which a mass of uranium is shot at another mass of uranium, worked. This design became Little Boy. By August of 1944, it became clear from Segret's research that plutonium would never work in a gun-type assembly. The focus for the plutonium design shifted overnight, from the gun method to the more promising implosion method for critical assembly. This would become Fat Man. It sounds straightforward enough. Use an inward explosion, an implosion, to assemble a critical mass of fissionable plutonium by compressing it inward with synchronized explosions. But in practice, it was just the kind of monumental problem to challenge everyone: physicists, chemists, engineers, technicians, machinists. Implosion was so complex that Project Trinity was devised to test it. If successful, the Trinity test would be the first man-made atomic explosion. Focusing on the end of the war, scientists threw the book at perfecting implosion. They had to be certain of success. plutonium was too rare to be wasted on a failed implosion. The war in Europe ended in May of 1945, but the United States was fighting fierce battles on its way toward the Japanese mainland. Weapon delivery plans were underway to allow the new bombs to be dropped from B-29 bombers on Japan. The high explosive sphere for the Trinity test device, called the Gadget, was assembled on July 16th. They conducted the Trinity test and detonated the Gadget. Whether at Trinity or at unofficial improvised viewing sites, the people of Project Y were the first to witness the dawn of a new era. On August 6th, the Enola Gay dropped the gun-assembled uranium weapon, Little Boy, on Hiroshima. On August 9th, the B-29 boxcar dropped the plutonium implosion bomb, Batman, on Nagasaki. The Manhattan Project had unleashed a destructive force never before seen. Each strike claimed tens of thousands of lives and left the cities in ruins. The devastation of these attacks, along with the Soviet entry into the war on August 8th, compelled the Japanese government to surrender unconditionally. After years of bloodshed, on August 14, 1945, World War II was over.
Grayson just generated electricity. How much did Hunter generate?
30.
Good grief, Hunter. Almost 30. See how much Grayson generates. About 10. I wonder if it's a function of mass.
It's still going up.
Electrical energy. Oh yeah, almost 20. Fascinating.
Let's see what I do. We'll close this mass.
Going up to 40. 35. Pretty well stop right at 30.
Me and Mommy are the most electrifying.
Mommy will. Interesting. Basically, you're acting like a battery. It's going from the copper to the aluminum.
That's permafrost.
Permanently frozen ground.